Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine standing at the edge of a quiet forest, sunlight filtering through the branches, shadows dancing across the ground. You feel the weight of the world on your shoulders, the expectations, the doubts, the relentless pressure to be everything to everyone. Now take a deep breath. Feel the ground beneath your feet, steady, solid, grounding you. And then imagine something extraordinary. What if, just for once, you chose yourself? Not tomorrow, not someday, but right now. This is the story of choosing yourself, of stepping out of the shadows of obligation, fear, and self-doubt, of embracing a life where your heart, your joy, your dreams, and your worth finally come first. What would happen if you stopped shrinking to fit others' expectations? What would change if you decided, unapologetically, that you are enough? By the end of this journey, you won't just understand what it means to choose yourself. You'll feel it in every fiber of your being. You'll see how every choice, every boundary, every act of self-respect transforms not just your life, but your world. Chapter 1. The Moment of Awakening. Have you ever felt it, that quiet, persistent ache deep in your chest, the one that whispers, there must be more to life than this? It comes when the world is loud, when obligations pile up, when expectations press down on your shoulders like stones, and yet amidst the chaos, there is a subtle, undeniable truth. Your soul knows it is time. Picture this. You are walking down a crowded street, people passing by in every direction, faces blurred, lives unfolding around you, and yet you feel invisible. You've been giving so much of yourself to everyone else, to work, to family, to friends, to roles you were told to play, that you hardly recognize your own reflection anymore. And then in a fleeting moment, something shifts. Perhaps it's a glance in the mirror, a pause in the middle of a routine, a thought that slips past your defenses. I have been neglecting myself. I have been invisible to myself. This is the moment of awakening. It is not loud, not dramatic, not cinematic in the way movies portray life-changing events. It is quiet, subtle, almost tender, and yet it is monumental, because in that instant you realize that you have a choice that has always been there, hidden beneath layers of expectation and habit. You can choose to step forward, to reclaim your life, to honor your own heart. You can choose yourself. Choosing yourself is not an act of rebellion. It is not selfishness or indulgence. It is a radical act of truth, an acknowledgement that your life, your energy, your dreams, and your joy matter just as much as anyone else's. For too long you may have believed that putting yourself first was wrong, that it would hurt others, that it was dangerous. But the truth is, when you stop shrinking, when you stop giving yourself away to everyone else, you begin to expand, you begin to live. Think of your life as a garden. For years you have been tending to other people's plants, watering their hopes, nurturing their dreams, leaving your own soil dry and cracked. The garden of your own soul has been neglected, choked by weeds of doubt, guilt, and fear. And now, in this moment of awakening, you hold the power to change that, to plant seeds that honor who you are, to cultivate joy, to nourish your own growth. This first step, acknowledging your own worth, is both terrifying and liberating. Terrifying because it means confronting years of habits, patterns, and beliefs that no longer serve you. It means daring to defy expectations, to challenge the familiar, to question the roles you have been playing without thinking. It is a leap into the unknown. But it is also liberating because, for the first time in a long time, you are standing in alignment with your truth. And there is nothing more exhilarating than that. I want you to imagine a life where every decision is guided by your own inner compass, where choices are not made out of obligation or fear, but from clarity and love for yourself. A life where you wake up in the morning excited, not drained, where your energy, your passion, your heart are no longer borrowed from others, but fully your own. That life is not a fantasy. It is waiting for you on the other side of this awakening. Many of us live in a haze of distraction, numbing the quiet voice inside that yearns for recognition. We fill our days with noise, social media, work, errands, endless shoulds, to avoid the truth. But the truth is simple. Your soul is calling. You may have ignored it for years, but it has never stopped speaking. And in the moment you finally listen, something remarkable happens. The world begins to shift. Opportunities appear that once felt invisible. Relationships transform, not because others change, but because you have changed. Your energy changes, your presence deepens, and a sense of clarity emerges that cannot be bought, forced, or borrowed. This awakening is also a confrontation with fear, because choosing yourself is not easy. It requires courage. Courage to say no, courage to set boundaries, courage to stand in your own truth, even when it feels uncomfortable. It is a path that demands honesty. Honesty with yourself, honesty with others, honesty with the life you want to live. And yes, fear will whisper doubts along the way, but it is a small voice compared to the roar of your own emerging power. Let me be clear, this is not a one-time event. Awakening is the beginning of a journey, not the end. It is the first step in a lifelong commitment to self-love, self-respect, and authenticity. Some days it will feel effortless. Other days it will feel like climbing a mountain in the dark. But each step you take, each choice you make in favor of yourself, is a declaration. I am here. I matter. I will no longer be invisible to myself. And there is magic in that declaration, a subtle alchemy that begins to transform everything. Suddenly, life feels lighter, richer, more vibrant. You notice beauty in places you never saw it before. You feel gratitude for your own existence, for your own strength, for your capacity to grow. You begin to understand that the life you have been searching for externally has been waiting for you internally all along. So in this chapter, let this be your invitation to pause, to breathe, to look inward and acknowledge the quiet longing that has been calling you all along, to recognize that you are worthy, that you are enough, and that the choice to honor yourself is not only possible, it is necessary. As we move into the next chapter, we will explore the power of saying no, how a single seemingly simple word can become the gateway to freedom, clarity, and self-respect. But before we take that step, linger here for a moment. Feel the weight of this awakening. Feel the stirring of possibility in your chest. Know that the journey has begun, and that the path you are about to walk is alive with promise. You have taken the first step. You have chosen to notice, to awaken, to honor yourself. And in that choice, everything is waiting to change. Chapter 2. The Power of Saying No. Have you ever noticed how heavy your life can feel when every yes you speak is borrowed from someone else? Imagine carrying a backpack filled not with things you eschew, but with obligations, expectations, and favors that were never yours to bear. Each nod, each agreement, each compromise that ignores your heart adds weight, slowly bending your spine and clouding your mind. And yet we do it. We say yes because it feels safer than confrontation, because we fear disappointing others, because we've been taught that self-sacrifice is virtue. But what if the first step to freedom, the first real act of self-love, was simply learning to say no? No. It is a small word, just 2 letters, yet it holds extraordinary power. It is a word that can transform your life when spoken with intention. Not a word of defiance or anger, but a word of protection, of clarity, of courage. Each no is a boundary drawn around your energy, a shield for your heart, a declaration that your life, your time, your peace, your dreams matters. Think about it. How often have you committed to something that left you exhausted, resentful, or depleted, simply because you didn't want to refuse? Perhaps you stayed late at work one more time. Perhaps you agreed to help someone, even when your own plate was overflowing. Perhaps you silenced your own desires to avoid conflict. Each of these moments, seemingly small, chips away at your sense of self. Saying yes without consent is a silent betrayal of your own needs. Now imagine the opposite. Imagine pausing, inhaling, and speaking a deliberate no. Picture the relief that flows through your body as your shoulders release their tension, as your mind clears, as your heart whispers in quiet approval. Saying no is not the end of generosity. It is the beginning of alignment. It is the recognition that you cannot pour from an empty cup. The true giving comes from a place of fullness, not depletion. This is not about being harsh or unkind. It is about discernment. It is about valuing your energy and protecting the space in which your life can thrive. Saying no is about respecting yourself enough to choose what truly matters, what truly resonates, and what truly nourishes your soul. It is about honoring your journey, rather than bending to the weight of others' demands. Consider the metaphor of a garden again. Every time you say yes to something that drains you, you are diverting water away from your own plants. The flowers you want to grow, joy, creativity, peace, begin to wilt from neglect. Saying no redirects that nourishment back to your own garden, allowing it to flourish. It is not selfishness. It is stewardship of your own life. And yet learning to say no is not simple. Fear often rises first. Fear of rejection, fear of conflict, fear of being disliked. These fears are familiar because society has conditioned us to equate self-neglect with virtue and self-assertion with arrogance. But here is the truth. The courage to say no is the courage to protect your life. It is the courage to be honest with yourself and others. And every time you speak that no with integrity, you honor not just your own boundaries, but the truth of your existence. You may notice that the first time you say no, it feels almost revolutionary. A small tremor runs through your body, a mixture of relief and disbelief. And then gradually, life begins to shift. The obligations that were never yours start to fall away. Your energy begins to circulate freely. Your mind, once crowded with shoulds and musts, becomes clear. And with that clarity, new possibilities emerge, opportunities and experiences that align with who you truly are. Let me be honest. Saying no is not a one-time act. It is a muscle that grows stronger the more you use it. At first it may feel uncomfortable, even painful. You might wrestle with guilt, worry, or second-guessing. But each no, each boundary, is a step closer to freedom. It is a step toward reclaiming your voice, your power, your life. And as your confidence grows, so does your ability to choose yes. Yes to yourself. Yes to what truly matters. Yes to experiences and relationships that honor your heart. Consider how saying no transforms not only your life, but your relationship. When you refuse to overextend, you create space for authenticity. People begin to see you as real, as grounded, as someone who respects their own limits. And when you honor yourself, others are inspired to honor themselves as well. Saying no is not a withdrawal from the world. It is a magnetic alignment with what is genuine and meaningful. The challenge, of course, is to navigate this practice with balance. Saying no should not be reactive or vindictive. It is not a tool for punishment or control. It is an act of awareness and discernment. It is about making space for your values, your passions, and your well-being, without resentment or blame. And in that space, life begins to flow differently, lighter, brighter, more purposeful. Imagine living a life where your energy is reserved for what truly nourishes you, where every yes is intentional, every action aligned, and every choice resonates with your heart. The freedom that comes from saying no is profound because it restores the power that has always been yours. It reconnects you with your own voice, your own desires, your own rhythm. And once you taste that freedom, there is no turning back. This chapter is your invitation to practice that power, to notice where your yeses are borrowed, where your boundaries are weak, where your energy is scattered, to pause, breathe, and consider which yeses are truly mine, and which can I release? To step into the courage of no, and feel the liberation that follows. As we move forward, we will explore the next crucial step in choosing yourself, letting go of guilt, because saying no, as liberating as it is, often awakens the quiet shadow of guilt, and understanding how to release that weight is essential for walking freely on this journey. Take a moment now to feel the weight of your own yeses and no. Feel the potential that exists when you claim your voice. Know that the power to protect your life, to safeguard your energy, and to honor yourself is already within you. And remember, the act of saying no is not an ending. It is the first doorway to everything you truly want. Your journey is unfolding, your choices are live, and as you prepare to release guilt, you will discover that the life you are seeking begins not in the world around you, but in the clarity and courage of your own heart. Chapter 3. Letting Go of Guilt. Guilt. It is a shadow that lingers quietly, yet profoundly in the corners of our hearts. Have you ever noticed how it creeps in the moment you finally start thinking about yourself? That small, nagging voice whispers, "How could you put yourself first? What about everyone else? Aren't you being selfish?" And just like that, the joy you were beginning to feel, the liberation you were tasting, is clouded by doubt and shame. Guilt is a powerful illusion. It convinces us that by caring for ourselves, we are harming others. It tells us that our needs are less important, that our happiness is secondary, that self-respect is somehow wrong. But think carefully, is guilt truly serving you, or is it keeping you small, stuck, and tethered to expectations that never belonged to you in the first place? Imagine carrying a heavy stone in your hand every day. It doesn't matter where you go, the weight is always there. That stone is guilt. You tell yourself, "I must endure, I must sacrifice, I must prioritize others before myself." And yet, with every step your energy is drained, your spirit dimmed, and your ability to truly live diminishes. Choosing yourself requires the courage to put that stone down. Letting go of guilt begins with awareness. You must first notice when it is speaking, when it is guiding your actions, when it is whispering false narratives into your mind. Once you recognize it, you can challenge it. Ask yourself, whose life am I living? Whose expectations am I honoring? Am I responsible for the happiness of everyone around me? The answers are rarely what guilt wants you to hear. They often reveal a simple, profound truth. Your life, your energy, and your joy are yours to steward. Guilt often disguises itself as love or duty. It says, "You care about them, so you must sacrifice yourself." But real love does not require self-erasure. True care for others flows naturally from a full cup. You cannot sustain generosity if your own needs are neglected. Releasing guilt does not mean abandoning those you care for. It means caring for them from a place of abundance rather than depletion. Consider a tree in winter. Its leaves have fallen, and the branches are bare. It may seem lifeless, but beneath the surface, roots are resting, conserving energy, preparing for new growth. Releasing guilt is like allowing your own roots to rest. It is giving yourself permission to breathe, to heal, to gather strength for what truly matters. And yet, letting go of guilt is not an instant process. It may rise again unexpectedly. When you take actions that prioritize your well-being, you might feel a pang of hesitation before setting a boundary, a flicker of doubt before saying no, a whisper of shame when choosing joy. These feelings are natural. They are the remnants of old conditioning, the echoes of a life that has not yet fully embraced self-love. Acknowledge them, honor them, but do not obey them. Your commitment is to yourself first. A practical way to release guilt is to reflect deeply on the outcomes of your choices. Ask yourself, does this choice harm others, or does it honor my life while allowing them to be responsible for their own? Most often you will find that your actions, when guided by clarity and integrity, do not harm. They simply redirect your energy to where it belongs. And when you act from this place, guilt loses its grip. It cannot thrive in the presence of conscious, deliberate self-respect. Another key insight is understanding the difference between responsibility and ownership. Responsibility is about doing what you can within your capacity. Ownership is about taking on the emotional burden of things beyond your control. Guilt often arises when we mistake the two, believing we are accountable for how others feel, react, or succeed. Letting go of guilt means releasing ownership of outcomes that are not yours to carry. You are responsible for your choices, your actions, your integrity, but not for the reactions or happiness of everyone else. Think about the liberation that follows this understanding. Imagine waking up each morning without the invisible weight of guilt pressing against your chest. Imagine making decisions from a place of clarity, joy, and authenticity rather than fear and obligation. Imagine the freedom of giving love, time, and energy because you choose to, not because you feel compelled by unseen chains. This is the life that emerges when guilt is released. And here is a quiet, profound truth. Guilt is never about you being wrong. It is a signal that you have been conditioned to disregard yourself. It is a reminder that the act of choosing yourself, of honoring your life, is both unfamiliar and uncomfortable, because for so long, you have been trained to put others first. Recognize guilt for what it is, a visitor, not a master. You do not have to obey it. As you practice releasing guilt, you will notice subtle shifts. Your energy will deepen, your focus will sharpen, your creativity and joy will expand. People around you may respond in unexpected ways, some with understanding, some with surprise, but your responsibility is not their reaction. Your responsibility is your truth. Every step you take in freedom and self-respect strengthens the foundation of your life. This chapter is an invitation to observe guilt, to question it, to release it, to understand that self-love is not selfish, that prioritizing yourself does not diminish your value to the world, and that your life is a precious gift meant to be nurtured, not neglected. Let go of guilt and you reclaim the space to be fully present with yourself, fully alive in your own journey. As we move into the next chapter, we will explore the power of reconnecting with your inner voice. Because letting go of guilt is only the beginning. The next step is learning to listen deeply to the quiet wisdom within you, to hear the desires and truths that have been waiting patiently for your attention. Take a moment now, breathe, and feel the release. Know that each act of letting go, each choice to honor yourself, is a declaration: I am worthy, I am enough, my life matters. And in that awareness, a door opens to clarity, guidance, and a deeper connection with your own heart. Chapter 4. Reconnecting with your inner voice. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine a place of complete stillness. The world around you fades, the noise quiets, and all that remains is the rhythm of your own heartbeat. Have you ever noticed how rare this silence has become? How often your thoughts are clouded by the demands, judgments, and expectations of others? And yet, beneath all that noise, there has always been a voice, a quiet, unwavering whisper guiding you, waiting for you to listen. This is your inner voice, the compass of your soul, and it is ready to speak. For too long, most of us have allowed the world to speak for us. Voices of expectation, judgment, and comparison drown out our own wisdom. We consult others for approval, follow paths that feel safe rather than true, and postpone our desires because someone told us to wait. And in the process, we forget something essential. We have always known what our hearts truly want. We have always carried within us the answers, the clarity, and the guidance, if only we take the time to hear it. Reconnecting with your inner voice begins with presence. It begins with a willingness to pause, to breathe, and to notice. Imagine the calm after a storm, when the rain has ceased and the air is thick with possibility. That is the sensation of tuning in to your own guidance. You do not need to shout, demand, or force clarity. You simply need to create the space to hear it, to honor it, and to trust it. Your inner voice is not always loud or dramatic. Often it comes as a gentle nudge, a fleeting thought, or a quiet feeling in your chest. It is a whisper that says, "This feels right," or "This is not aligned with who you are." It is a compass pointing toward authenticity, toward choices that resonate with your soul, toward a life that is truly yours. And the more you practice listening, the stronger and clearer that voice becomes. Think about the contrast between decision-making guided by fear and decision-making guided by your inner voice. When fear dominates, choices are reactive, constrained by what might go wrong, or by what others might think. When your inner voice guides you, decisions are proactive, grounded, and infused with alignment. You feel clarity, even if the path ahead is challenging. You feel strength, even when others doubt. You feel peace, even amidst uncertainty. Reconnecting with yourself also means differentiating your truth from the narratives that have been imposed upon you. Family expectations, societal norms, and past conditioning often masquerade as your own desire. To hear your inner voice, you must gently peel away those layers, question the stories you've accepted, and ask, is this what I truly want? Is this aligned with who I am at my core? These questions are not always easy, but they are necessary. They are the gateway to living a life guided by authenticity rather than obligation. It is natural to feel hesitation at first. Listening to your own guidance may feel unfamiliar, even risky. Old habits, self-doubt, and fear of judgment may arise. But each time you honor your inner voice, you strengthen it. Each time you act on your truth, your confidence deepens, and the whisper grows louder, more insistent, more trustworthy. Over time, it becomes a source of unwavering guidance, a lighthouse in the storms of life, illuminating the way forward with clarity and purpose. Imagine what life could be like if every decision, every choice, every step you took was informed by this inner guidance. Work would feel meaningful because it aligns with your strength and values. Relationships would deepen because they reflect your authentic self. Your passions and creativity would flourish because they are nurtured, not suppressed. And even challenges, when guided by your inner voice, become opportunities for growth rather than sources of fear. Reconnecting with your inner voice is also an act of courage. It requires you to trust yourself in a world that constantly tells you otherwise. It requires you to believe that your feelings, your desires, and your intuition are valid. And perhaps most importantly, it requires patience. Your inner voice will not always speak in clarity immediately. Sometimes it requires quiet observation, reflection, and practice before the message becomes unmistakable. A powerful practice is to create intentional moments of silence throughout your day. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and ask a question from your heart. What do I truly need? What choice aligns with my truth? Then listen. Resist the urge to rush or rationalize. Let the answer rise naturally. It may arrive as a thought, an image, a feeling, or a sudden knowing. And when it comes, trust it, act on it, even in small ways, and notice the ripple effect in your life. Another essential aspect of reconnecting with your inner voice is self-compassion. Often we ignore our own guidance because we judge ourselves harshly, doubt our instincts, or feel unworthy of clarity. Treat yourself gently, as you would a friend seeking advice. Honor your fears, validate your feelings, and then choose to follow the path that resonates with your deepest truth. The more compassionate you are toward yourself, the clearer your inner voice becomes. The beauty of this practice is that it is timeless and universal. No matter your circumstances, background, or past experiences, your inner voice is always accessible. It does not require permission, validation, or perfection. It simply requires your attention, your presence, and your willingness to trust. And when you respond to it consistently, your life begins to shift in profound ways. Decisions become easier, joy becomes more present, and a sense of alignment permeates everything you do. As you reflect on this chapter, recognize that reconnecting with your inner voice is not a destination. It is an ongoing journey. Each moment of listening, each act of trust, strengthens the connection between your heart and your choices. Each time you follow your guidance, you reclaim a piece of yourself that may have been lost in the noise of the world. As we move into the next chapter, we will explore the transformative power of solitude, how stepping into your own company allows your inner voice to flourish, your clarity to expand, and your life to unfold in alignment with your truth. For now, linger with the awareness that you have within you a compass, a guide, and a quiet source of wisdom that is always ready to lead you toward the life you were meant to live. Take a deep breath. Feel your heartbeat. Notice the quiet stirrings within. Your inner voice is awakening, and as you continue this journey, it will become your most trusted ally, your source of clarity, and your doorway to a life of authenticity, purpose, and fulfillment. Chapter 5: Embracing Solitude. There is a quiet kind of power in being alone. Not lonely, not abandoned, but truly alone, present with yourself, with no distractions, no obligations, no external voices filling the space around you. Have you ever noticed how uncomfortable this can feel at first? How quickly the mind fills the silence with noise, stories, fears, and endless chatter. And yet within that stillness, there is a remarkable gift, the chance to meet yourself fully, to reconnect with your truth, and to awaken to the life you were meant to live. Solitude is not punishment, it is nourishment. It is not emptiness, it is a fertile space where clarity, creativity, and self-discovery take root. In the busyness of our lives, we rarely stop to listen to ourselves without interruption. We rarely allow our thoughts to settle, our hearts to speak, our spirits to breathe, and in that absence, we lose touch with our own wisdom. Solitude restores it. Imagine a lake, calm and undisturbed. The water reflects the sky, the trees, the sun in perfect clarity. A single ripple can distort the reflection, and yet when the surface is still, the image is true. Your mind is like that lake. When it is cluttered with noise, the reflection of your inner self is blurred. Solitude allows the surface to settle, so you can finally see yourself clearly. Being alone teaches you self-reliance. It reminds you that your happiness, your peace, and your sense of purpose do not depend on others' approval or presence. They emerge from within. In solitude, you discover that the strength to navigate life, the courage to make choices, and the clarity to follow your inner voice have always existed inside you. You are not dependent. You are capable. You are not incomplete. You are whole. Many fear solitude because it forces confrontation with oneself. Old wounds, regrets, fears, and insecurities rise to the surface. But this confrontation is necessary for growth. In solitude, there is no escaping the truth. You must face the stories you tell yourself, the patterns you cling to, and the fears that hold you back. And as you face them, something extraordinary happens. You begin to release them. You begin to reclaim your energy, your freedom, and your power. Solitude also nurtures creativity and intuition. When you step away from the constant input of the world, the opinions, comparisons, and distractions, your mind finds space to imagine, to innovate, and to listen. Ideas that were buried under noise resurface. Insights emerge that were previously invisible. Your intuition, that quiet guide you've been learning to trust, speaks more clearly in the absence of external interference. Consider the times in your life when you felt truly inspired, alive, and aligned. Were those moments crowded with distractions, or were they quiet, reflective, and deeply personal? Often, our greatest clarity comes not from the world around us, but from the silence within. Solitude is the soil in which your best self grows, but solitude is not passive. It is an active practice. It requires intention, patience, and self-compassion. Begin by setting aside small pockets of time each day, even 10 or 15 minutes, to be fully with yourself. No phones, no obligations, no distractions. Sit, breathe, and simply observe. Notice your thoughts without judgment. Listen to your feelings without interference. Let your heart speak, and honor whatever rises. Through solitude, you also cultivate deeper gratitude and presence. When you are alone with yourself, you notice the subtleties of life that often go unnoticed in the rush of routine. The warmth of sunlight, the rhythm of your breath, the simple act of existing, all become profound reminders of the beauty and preciousness of life. Solitude teaches you to savor the moment, to connect with your own essence, and to appreciate the life that is unfolding within and around you. Yet, this practice is not about isolation from the world. It is about strengthening your relationship with yourself, so that your interactions with others are more authentic, compassionate, and intentional. When you are grounded in solitude, you bring your full presence to your relationship. You listen more deeply, act more consciously, and love more fully, not out of need, but out of abundance. Solitude can also illuminate what no longer serves you. In the quiet, you begin to recognize relationships, commitments, and habits that drain your energy, cloud your mind, or misalign with your truth. And with that recognition comes the courage to make choices that honor your life, to let go of what diminishes you, and to embrace what nourishes you. As you continue this practice, notice how your inner voice grows stronger. The guidance you cultivated in the previous chapter becomes clearer, more trustworthy, more aligned with your heart. Solitude is the bridge between the chaos of the world and the clarity of your own wisdom. It is the space where you come home to yourself, where you remember who you are, and where you ignite the power to live authentically. This chapter is an invitation to step into the quiet, to embrace the stillness, to meet yourself without distraction, and to listen without fear. To recognize that being alone is not emptiness, but fullness, that in solitude, you are not missing out. You are discovering the foundation of your life, your strength, and your joy. As we move into the next chapter, we will explore the art of self-compassion, how treating yourself with the same kindness, understanding, and care that you offer others can transform your inner world, strengthen your resilience, and deepen your love for yourself. For now, let the stillness settle within you. Let the quiet remind you that you are whole, capable, and deeply worthy of your own attention and love. Take a deep breath. Feel the presence of your own being. Notice the power, clarity, and peace that arise from solitude. And as you step forward, carry this awareness with you. The life you seek has been waiting inside you all along, ready to flourish when you give it the space to grow. Chapter 6. The Art of Self-Compassion. Imagine looking into a mirror and seeing yourself for the first time, without judgment, without criticism, without the weight of expectations. Imagine meeting your own gaze with kindness, understanding, and acceptance. For many of us, this image feels foreign, even impossible. We are often our harshest critics, our own saboteurs, endlessly pointing out flaws, mistakes, or shortcomings. And yet, the practice of self-compassion is one of the most transformative acts you can cultivate on the journey of choosing yourself. Self-compassion begins with awareness. It begins with noticing how you speak to yourself, the tone of your inner dialogue, and the patterns of self-criticism that arise automatically. Perhaps you berate yourself for a perceived failure, a missed opportunity, or a personal weakness. Perhaps you replay moments of embarrassment or regret, endlessly punishing yourself for things that cannot be undone. This habitual self-judgment chips away at your confidence, your clarity, and your capacity to truly love yourself. Now imagine a different approach. What if, instead of harsh criticism, you responded to your struggles with gentle understanding? What if, instead of condemning your mistakes, you treated them as opportunities to learn, to grow, to become wiser? This is self-compassion in action. It is the conscious decision to treat yourself as you would a beloved friend, with patience, encouragement, and unconditional care. Think of self-compassion as a healing balm. When life knocks you down, when you feel inadequate, lonely, or overwhelmed, self-compassion soothes the wound. It allows you to pause, breathe, and say, "It's okay. I am human. I am learning. I am enough." These words may seem simple, but their impact is profound. Each act of kindness toward yourself strengthens your resilience, restores your energy, and reinforces the foundation of self-worth upon which all other growth is built. Self-compassion also requires honesty. It is not about pretending everything is perfect or excusing harmful behavior. Rather, it is about acknowledging your reality without judgment. You recognize your mistakes, your fears, your limitations, and still respond with care and understanding. It is a balance between truth and tenderness, accountability and empathy, recognition and love. Consider the metaphor of a wounded bird. If you scold the bird for being fragile, it will remain broken. But if you tend to it gently, feed it, and allow it to rest, it has the chance to heal and eventually soar. Your own spirit is no different. Treat it with the care it deserves, and it will grow stronger, more resilient, and more vibrant. Self-compassion also nurtures courage. When you stop berating yourself, you free the energy that was consumed by self-criticism. That energy can now be used to pursue your goals, take bold steps, and make choices aligned with your truth. Compassion fuels action because it creates a foundation of safety within yourself, a reassurance that regardless of outcome, you are worthy of love, respect, and care. An important aspect of self-compassion is the ability to forgive yourself. Forgiveness is not about erasing mistakes or pretending they never happened. It is about releasing the grip of shame, regret, and self-punishment so that you can move forward. Every time you forgive yourself, you reclaim part of your power. You choose growth over stagnation, love over guilt, and freedom over limitation. Self-compassion also deepens your connection with others. When you treat yourself kindly, you naturally extend that kindness outward. You listen more patiently, act more empathetically, and respond to others with greater understanding. Your relationships flourish, not because you sacrifice yourself, but because you approach them from a place of fullness rather than depletion. Practicing self-compassion requires intentionality. Begin by noticing when self-criticism arises. Pause, breathe, and consciously replace harsh thoughts with words of care and encouragement. Speak to yourself with the same warmth you would offer a close friend. Celebrate small victories, acknowledge your efforts, and remind yourself that imperfection is part of being human. Over time, this practice reshapes your inner dialogue, creating a steady current of support, encouragement, and love within yourself. Another powerful practice is journaling with compassion. Write to yourself without judgment, acknowledging your struggles and offering encouragement. Reflect on your challenges as opportunities for growth and express appreciation for your resilience. This act of writing transforms self-reflection from a space of critique into a sanctuary of understanding and acceptance. As you cultivate self-compassion, you will notice subtle yet profound shifts. Fear loses its power to paralyze. Mistakes become teachers rather than punishers. Your confidence grows, rooted not in perfection, but in the unwavering acceptance of your own humanity. You begin to act from a place of self-love rather than fear, making choices that honor your life, your values, and your well-being. This chapter is an invitation to meet yourself with kindness, to offer the care you often reserve for others, to recognize your worth, and to nurture the relationship you have with the most important person in your life, yourself. Self-compassion is not indulgence, it is survival. It is not weakness, it is strength. It is the bridge between the life you have and the life you are capable of creating. As we move into the next chapter, we will explore the transformative power of setting clear boundaries, how knowing your limits, asserting your needs, and protecting your energy allows you to live with integrity, freedom, and alignment with your deepest self. For now, take a moment to breathe, to acknowledge yourself with care, and to feel the warmth that comes from treating yourself with the compassion you have always deserved. Your journey is unfolding. Each act of self-compassion is a step forward, a reclamation of your power, and an embrace of the life you were always meant to live. Chapter 7. The Power of Boundaries. Boundaries, they are invisible lines, yet their presence shapes every aspect of our lives. Without them, we are vulnerable to depletion, confusion, and compromise. With them, we claim space for ourselves, protect our energy, and honor our truth. And yet, for many of us, boundaries feel uncomfortable, even selfish. We fear rejection, conflict, or the disappointment of others. But the reality is this: boundaries are not about pushing people away. They are about creating a foundation of respect, clarity, and self-respect upon which everything else in your life can flourish. Imagine a garden without fences. Plants grow, but weeds creep in. Sunlight is scattered, water runs off in every direction, and the garden struggles to thrive. Boundaries are like the fences and walls that protect the garden. They define space, ensure nourishment, and create an environment where growth is possible. Without them, your energy is scattered, your intentions diluted, and your sense of self can fade. With them, you create clarity, focus, and freedom. Setting boundaries begins with awareness. It requires paying attention to your energy, your feelings, and your needs. Notice when you feel drained, resentful, or overwhelmed. These are signs that a boundary is needed. Often, we try to push through discomfort, telling ourselves we must be accommodating, responsible, or agreeable. But each time we ignore these signs, we sacrifice pieces of our vitality and authenticity. Boundaries are the acknowledgement that your time, energy, and well-being are valuable, and protecting them is an act of self-love. Boundaries are not only about saying no to others, they are also about saying yes to yourself. They affirm your priorities, your values, and your right to live a life aligned with your truth. By defining limits, you create space for what matters most: your growth, your peace, and your purpose. You are not rejecting the world, you are choosing to engage with it on your terms, from a place of strength rather than depletion. Many fear boundaries because they imagine conflict, confrontation, or rejection. But the truth is, boundaries communicate clarity, not hostility. They teach others how to treat you. They establish expectations for respect and reciprocity. And while some may resist or challenge your limits, those who truly value you will honor them. Boundaries reveal the authenticity of relationships and allow you to invest in connections that are supportive, reciprocal, and life-giving. Consider the power of saying no. A simple no, delivered with calm confidence, can preserve your energy, protect your priorities, and prevent resentment from building. Saying no is not about denying others. It is about honoring yourself. It is an act of courage, clarity, and self-respect. And each time you practice this, you strengthen your ability to navigate life with integrity and intentionality. Boundaries also involve self-discipline. It is not enough to declare limits. You must enforce them consistently. This may feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you are used to pleasing others or ignoring your own needs. But consistency is key. Each time you honor a boundary, you reinforce your self-worth and model the respect you expect from the world. Over time, boundaries become a natural expression of your inner strength and authenticity. Another aspect of boundaries is emotional discernment. You are not responsible for absorbing the emotions, problems, or negativity of everyone around you. Compassion does not mean carrying the weight of the world. Healthy boundaries allow you to empathize without losing yourself. They enable you to support others while remaining grounded, clear, and connected to your own needs. Boundaries are also dynamic. They evolve as you grow, your priorities shift, and your relationships change. What was appropriate yesterday may no longer serve you today. Being attuned to your inner voice, your energy, and your well-being allows you to adjust boundaries with grace and confidence. Flexibility, when balanced with integrity, ensures that boundaries remain empowering rather than rigid. The practice of boundaries is transformative because it nurtures self-respect, emotional resilience, and personal freedom. When you protect your energy, you are able to show up fully for your passions, your relationships, and your purpose. You are able to focus on what truly matters without distraction, guilt, or compromise. Life becomes less about surviving the demands of others and more about thriving in alignment with your truth. Setting boundaries may feel unfamiliar or uncomfortable at first, but it is also deeply liberating. Each boundary you establish is a declaration: I matter, my time matters, my well-being matters. And with each declaration, you reclaim pieces of yourself that may have been scattered or compromised. You are no longer living on the terms of others. You are living on your own. This chapter is an invitation to embrace boundaries as a sacred act of self-respect. To notice where your energy is being depleted, to define what is acceptable and what is not, and to communicate these limits with courage, clarity, and compassion. Boundaries are not walls. They are the framework for freedom, the scaffolding for authenticity, and the foundation for a life lived with intention. As we move into the next chapter, we will explore the practice of gratitude, how acknowledging the abundance in your life, even in small ways, shifts your perspective, strengthens your resilience, and deepens your sense of joy and fulfillment. For now, reflect on the power of your own limit. Recognize that every boundary you set is a step toward living fully, authentically, and without compromise. Take a deep breath. Feel the strength that comes from honoring yourself. Notice the clarity that emerges when you define what you will and will not accept. And as you move forward, carry this awareness with you. Boundaries are not barriers, but bridges. Bridges to freedom, peace, and the life you were always meant to claim. Chapter 8. The Transformative Power of Gratitude. Close your eyes for a moment and picture a life where every small detail, a morning sunrise, the taste of a warm cup of coffee, the laughter of a friend, is noticed, appreciated, and cherished. Can you feel the subtle shift in your body, the quiet warmth that spreads through your chest? That is the power of gratitude. It is not merely a polite acknowledgement or a fleeting thought. It is a transformative force that reshapes how you experience your life. Gratitude begins with attention. The mind naturally scans for problems, risks, and shortcomings. It is wired to protect you. But in doing so, it often overlooks the richness, abundance, and beauty that already exist around you. Gratitude redirects your focus, training your awareness to notice the gifts that are present, even amidst challenges. It is a conscious choice to see what is good, rather than fixate solely on what is lacking. Consider for a moment the weight of a typical day. Responsibilities pile up, stress mounts, and distractions pull you in every direction. In the midst of this chaos, it is easy to feel small, insignificant, or unfulfilled. Yet when you pause to practice gratitude, the world expands. A single breath becomes a miracle. A kind word becomes a treasure. A simple meal becomes a feast. Gratitude transforms ordinary moments into sources of joy, grounding you in the richness of life, rather than the scarcity of circumstance. But gratitude is not always easy. Life can be difficult, messy, and painful. It can feel unfair, unjust, and exhausting. And yet, it is precisely in these moments that gratitude carries its deepest power. Gratitude is not about denying hardship or pretending everything is perfect. It is about finding something within or around you, even if small, that affirms life, hope, or resilience. It is the choice to recognize that despite difficulties, there are reasons to acknowledge beauty, love, and growth. Gratitude also rewires the mind. Neuroscience has shown that consistent practice of gratitude strengthens the neural pathways associated with positivity, satisfaction, and resilience. Each act of acknowledgement, each moment of appreciation, literally changes how your brain perceives the world. Over time, this practice cultivates a perspective rooted in abundance rather than lack, empowerment rather than helplessness, and possibility rather than limitation. Start simply. Each morning, name 3 things you are grateful for. They need not be extraordinary. The sunlight streaming through your window, the sound of a loved one's voice, the ability to take a deep, cleansing breath. All of these are worthy of recognition. Write them down, speak them aloud, or carry them quietly in your heart. With each repetition, you strengthen the habit of noticing what is present, what is real, and what is sustaining you. Gratitude also deepens your connection to others. When you recognize the kindness, support, and love you receive, you naturally respond with warmth, generosity. Appreciation becomes a bridge that strengthens relationships, dissolves resentment, and invites reciprocity. You see people not merely as functional parts of your life, but as sources of inspiration, growth, and companionship. Gratitude transforms interaction into connection, exchange into communion. Moreover, gratitude fosters resilience. Challenges become bearable when paired with acknowledgement of what is still intact: health, opportunity, personal strength, or love. Gratitude does not eliminate difficulty, but it shifts your perspective, allowing you to meet obstacles with composure, clarity. When life feels heavy, gratitude becomes a lever, lifting your spirit and reminding you of the resources, support, and inner strength you may otherwise overlook. An essential practice of gratitude is reflection. At the end of each day, pause and consider the moments that brought you joy, learning, or connection. Even hardships carry lessons or silver linings if approached with openness. Reflecting on these moments creates a rhythm of awareness that reinforces the habit of appreciation, making gratitude an integral part of your lived experience, rather than a fleeting thought. Gratitude also enhances your sense of purpose. When you notice and appreciate the gifts, opportunities, and relationships in your life, you become more attuned to how you can give back, contribute, and create impact. Appreciation sparks creativity, compassion, and motivation. It aligns your actions with values, reminding you that your life matters, that your presence has meaning, and that your choices can ripple outward in positive ways. Remember, gratitude is not passive. It is active, deliberate, and intentional. It requires slowing down, observing, and acknowledging. It requires a willingness to shift focus from absence to presence, from expectation to appreciation, from comparison to awareness. And as you practice it consistently, gratitude becomes a lens through which life is experienced, a lens that illuminates abundance, nurtures joy, and fosters a profound sense of fulfillment. This chapter is an invitation to cultivate the habit of gratitude in every facet of your life, to see the extraordinary in the ordinary, the blessings in the challenges, and the opportunities for growth in the smallest moments. Gratitude is a transformative practice because it reconnects you to the truth you may have overlooked. Life, in all its imperfection and unpredictability, is a gift. As we move into the next chapter, we will explore the art of embracing change, how letting go of resistance, accepting life's ebbs and flows, and moving forward with courage and curiosity can transform uncertainty into opportunity and fear into freedom. For now, take a moment to feel gratitude for this very moment, for the breath in your lungs, the beating of your heart, and the unfolding journey that is uniquely yours. Breathe deeply. Let appreciation wash over you. Notice the subtle warmth and openness that gratitude brings, and carry this energy forward, knowing that by choosing to see what is present, you are opening the door to a life of joy, abundance, and profound transformation. Chapter 9. Embracing change. Change arrives quietly, sometimes like the turning of a page, and sometimes like a storm that sweeps through your life without warning. It can feel unsettling, frightening, and disorienting, and yet it is inevitable. Life is a river in constant motion, and resisting the current only exhausts you. The secret to choosing yourself, to living fully and freely, is learning not just to face change, but to embrace it. Imagine standing at the edge of a cliff, the wind whipping around you, the vast horizon stretching before you. You cannot control the wind, the tides, or the journey that lies ahead. But you can choose how you respond. You can tense, resist, and fight against the current, or you can open your arms, trust yourself, and step forward with courage. Embracing change is this act of courage, a willingness to face the unknown with faith in your own resilience. Change often triggers fear because it forces you out of comfort, predictability, and control. You may feel anxious about leaving behind familiar routines, relationships, or identities. You may worry about making the wrong choice, failing, or losing something important. And yet it is precisely in these moments of discomfort that growth occurs. Change is not the enemy. It is the catalyst that reveals your strength, adaptability, and untapped potential. To embrace change, start by reframing your perspective. Instead of viewing it as a disruption or loss, see it as an opportunity for expansion, learning, and transformation. Every ending contains a seed of beginning. Every challenge carries a lesson. Every transition invites a chance to align more deeply with your values, purpose, and authentic self. Change is the universe's way of nudging you toward evolution, toward a fuller, richer, and more empowered life. One of the most powerful tools in navigating change is presence. When faced with uncertainty, the mind often spirals into regret about the past or worry about the future. Yet, all you truly have is this moment. By grounding yourself in the present, you gain clarity, focus, and the ability to respond rather than react. Presence transforms fear into awareness, anxiety into action, and hesitation into possibility. Another essential practice is flexibility. Embracing change requires letting go of rigid expectations and attachments. Life rarely unfolds exactly as planned. People, circumstances, and opportunities shift in ways beyond your control. By cultivating adaptability, you allow yourself to flow with the currents of life rather than being swept away by them. Flexibility is not weakness. It is the wisdom to bend without breaking, to adjust without losing your essence. Change also demands self-trust. It requires faith in your own intuition, judgment, and resilience. You may not see the full path ahead, and that is precisely why trust is crucial. Trust that you have the inner resources to navigate uncertainty. Trust that your experiences, values, and wisdom equip you to make decisions aligned with your highest good. And trust that even if mistakes occur, you will learn, grow, and continue moving forward. Consider the metaphor of a butterfly. To emerge from its cocoon, it must undergo a profound transformation. The process is uncomfortable, vulnerable, and uncertain. yet it is essential for flight. Similarly, your own growth often requires letting go of what is familiar and safe, stepping into the unknown and trusting that the change will lead to a greater version of yourself. Embracing change also involves releasing resistance. When you fight against what is happening, you expend energy on tension, frustration, and resentment. Acceptance does not mean passivity or resignation. It means acknowledging reality and choosing how to respond with clarity, intention, and courage. Acceptance clears space for creativity, problem-solving, and meaningful action. It turns obstacles into opportunities and challenges into invitations for growth. Every change, no matter how small or large, carries lessons. Reflect on what each transition teaches you about yourself, your values, desires, resilience, and capacity for joy. With each lesson learned, you become stronger, wiser, and more aligned with your authentic self. Change is not a detour from your path. It is part of the path itself, guiding you toward the life you are meant to live. Finally, embrace the paradox. Change is both an ending and a beginning. Saying goodbye to what no longer serves you creates space for what is waiting to emerge. Letting go of outdated patterns, toxic relationships, or limiting beliefs allows you to step into freedom, possibility, and purpose. Every change invites you to reclaim your power, make conscious choices, and live intentionally. This chapter is an invitation to view change not as a threat, but as a doorway, to cultivate courage, presence, flexibility, and trust as you navigate life's transitions, to recognize that each shift, each turning point carries the potential to align you more deeply with your true self. Embracing change is not a one-time act. It is a continuous practice, a mindset, and a declaration of your commitment to growth and self-love. As we move into the final chapter, we will explore the culmination of this journey, how choosing yourself fully, integrating all these practices, and stepping into your power creates a life of authenticity, fulfillment, and limitless possibility. For now, reflect on the changes you have faced, the growth you have already achieved, and the courage within you to meet the future with openness, resilience, and hope. Breathe deeply, feel the strength in your spine, the calm in your heart, and the readiness to step forward. Change is not your adversary, it is your guide, and by embracing it you are choosing yourself, fully, boldly, and without hesitation. Chapter 10: Choosing Yourself Fully. Close your eyes and picture the most authentic version of yourself, not the one shaped by expectations, obligations, or fear, but the one that exists at the core of your being. Can you see it? Can you feel the strength, the clarity, and the peace that radiates from that center? That self, the one you were born to become, is waiting. It is waiting for your permission, your courage, and your commitment. Choosing yourself fully means stepping into that presence and claiming it as your own. For too long, many of us have given pieces of ourselves away to people, circumstances, obligations, and doubts. We have allowed fear, guilt, or the need for approval to dictate our choices, and in doing so, we have dimmed our own light, ignored our own needs, and silenced our own voice. Choosing yourself is the radical act of reclaiming what has always been yours: your time, your energy, your dreams, and your freedom to live authentically. This choice begins with awareness. You cannot claim what you do not see. Look honestly at your life, the ways you have compromised, the moments you have silenced yourself, the patterns that have kept you small. Awareness is not judgment, it is recognition. It is seeing where you have surrendered your power and realizing that the power was always within you, waiting to be remembered and embraced. Next comes permission. Give yourself permission to prioritize your well-being, to honor your desires, to speak your truth. Permission is a declaration: I matter, my life matters, my voice matters. It is not selfish, it is necessary. Without this permission, you continue to live in fragments, bending to the expectations of others, while neglecting the very self that gives your life meaning. Choosing yourself also demands courage. It is not easy to stand apart, to set boundaries, or to follow the path that feels true when it diverges from the familiar. Courage is the muscle that allows you to act in alignment with your deepest truth, even when fear whispers doubts, judgment threatens, or resistance arises. Each act of courage, no matter how small, reinforces your commitment to yourself and strengthens the foundation of your life. Reflection is an essential companion on this journey. Take stock of what you have learned from the previous chapters, the power of self-awareness, the clarity that comes from gratitude, the strength in embracing change, the freedom in setting boundaries. All of these lessons converge here, guiding you to a profound realization: your life is yours to shape, and the choice to honor yourself is the most transformative choice you can make. Choosing yourself fully also involves trust. Trust in your intuition, your judgment, and your capacity to navigate life. When you align with your inner guidance, decisions become clearer, boundaries become stronger, and your path forward becomes illuminated. Trust is not passive. It is an active relationship with yourself, one built on experience, reflection, and the understanding that you are capable of more than you often allow yourself to see. This choice extends into every facet of life. It influences the relationships you cultivate, the work you pursue, the habits you adopt, and the inner dialogue you nurture. When you choose yourself, you choose alignment over compromise, authenticity over conformity, and empowerment over resignation. Life becomes not a series of obligations, but a canvas upon which you consciously create a reality that resonates with your values and desires. And yet, choosing yourself is not a destination, it is a practice. Each day, each decision, and each moment offers a new opportunity to reaffirm your commitment. You may falter, second-guess, or feel doubt. That is natural. What matters is returning, repeatedly, to the choice to honor your own truth. Every time you do, you reinforce the architecture of a life lived fully, courageously, and deliberately. Imagine the ripple effect. When you choose yourself, your clarity, confidence, and presence influence those around you. Boundaries become lessons in respect, authenticity inspires others, and courage invites connection. By honoring your own life, you give others permission to honor theirs. Choosing yourself is not an act of isolation. It is an act of profound empowerment that radiates outward. Finally, choosing yourself is the culmination of this journey. It is the integration of all the practices and insights we have explored: awareness, self-love, boundaries, gratitude, resilience, and embracing change. It is the embodiment of your highest potential, lived daily and unapologetically. It is the moment when you stop living by default and start living by design, choosing experiences, relationships, and actions that nourish, challenge, and elevate you. As you step fully into this choice, take a deep breath and feel the alignment within you. Notice the strength, peace, and energy that arise when you honor yourself. Recognize that this is not arrogance or selfishness. It is the sacred act of recognizing that your life, your voice, and your presence are worthy of respect and celebration. Carry this awareness forward. Let it inform your decisions, your interactions, and your intentions. When life presents challenges or temptations to compromise, return to this truth: you are the steward of your own life. Choosing yourself fully is not just a moment. It is a lifetime practice that shapes everything you do and everything you become. As we close this audiobook, take a final moment to reflect. You have the tools, the awareness, and the courage. You have learned to set boundaries, embrace gratitude, navigate change, and trust yourself. Now the choice is yours, not tomorrow, not someday, but here and now. To step into your power, honor your truth, and live a life that is unapologetically and beautifully your own. The world is waiting for the full expression of you. Step forward, claim yourself, live fully, and watch as everything changes.